experience, well, do please get in touch with us. Now, will modular homes, or prefabs as they were known when I spent my first 4 years of life in one, will they be part of the solution to the UK's housing crisis? The government hopes they will. They've set a target to build 300,000 new homes a year by the mid-2020s. The current delivery rate is only about 165,000. Modular houses are built in factories and assembled on site. They're becoming more popular because they're faster to build. Well, our reporter Samantha Fennick is at a factory in Yorkshire this morning which has received the biggest order yet for factory-built homes.
Peter, you joined me in a factory in Knaresborough where they're building houses. I can see in front of me people literally stapling houses together. There are millions of people in the UK looking for somewhere to live. 1.2 million people are waiting for social housing, according to the charity Shelter. And the government thinks that these modular houses might help plug the gap. These houses are built on a production line, similar to the way that you might build a car. It takes half the time to build one of these homes than a traditional bricks and mortar house, yet only 1% of homes built last year were modular. That's fewer than 15,000. Well, Dave Sheridan is here. He's the boss of Ilke Homes. How does this work? I've said that it's a bit like a car production factory.
That's the concept we came up with. It's a line manufactured unit. The key is it's manufacturing, not construction, so we can control quality, speed and the environment in which it's built. So the consumer gets what they want without too much after-sales snagging and repairs.
And how many houses can you produce, say, a year?
This factory is going to be geared up for 2,000 homes per year. Currently it runs on one shift, so it can do 500. But in the new year, we're going to put 2 shifts on and increase the number of lines. So we'll produce 2,000 homes out of this factory.
And what are they like to live in? Because, you know, the kind of image of a prefab home is that post-war place that was only ever temporary.
No, these are not prefabs, these are quality homes, so they should feel warmer, they should feel in a nice environment, and they should feel really happy with the product we produce.
And there's one here next to us. Is this a ground floor?
This is a ground floor unit. It's currently just a shell which has been going down the line. It's halfway down the line, so it's not finished. It's going to have the external cladding put on, so it'll be a choice from the customer whether they want a rendered finish or a brick finish. And it starts to look like a more normal home as you would see on a construction site from this point.
What I thought was quite interesting when I watched a video of your house being put into place is that it can literally be craned in, can be dropped on to the foundations.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage. So people who live around a home building site, we were there in half the time, there's less disruption, there's only one trade on site, it's craned in 2 or 3 days, up to a week, it's finished, we're off. And we believe it's good for the environment.
You've just taken a massive order for 750 of these houses, but who else is ordering besides that big order?
Yeah, so there's a number of partners, like RP partners, you know, we've got the Place for People order that you've just mentioned, we've got Keep Motor, we're a developer, they're taking over 450 units, we've got orders from individual councils such as Chesterfield, North Somerset, and there's another number of partners that we're doing. So we've got 1,500 orders coming through the process. We've got leads of over 4,000 of these homes. So we're really excited about the opportunity that's in front of us.
So that's only one floor of the house, well the other floors...
Yeah, so there's the ground floor, there's the first floor and 2 wagons. So we coordinate the deliveries, they turn up together, the ground floor's lifted into place, the top floor's lifted into place. We then do what we call a zip up, which is join the 2 houses together, power's on, 3 days time, they're ready for the inspection from the people who are going to take the house over. So they're a very spatial, very warm, very airy home, and you'll see one finished at the end of the line shortly.
OK, let's go and have a look in there. So now I'm standing outside what are effectively show homes. They look pretty much like a traditional house that's been built in the traditional style with bricks and cement. We mentioned that order of 750 properties by one of the UK's largest social housing providers, Places for People. I'm going to try and find David Cowans now. He's from Places for People, and I find him here in this open plan kitchen dining room.
Hello there, how are you
today? So you've taken 750 of these?
Yes, well we've also tried building them in the past, so we've been doing this for about 3 years, and we wanted to try them in situ before we decided on them, and the reaction from customers has been great. The big issue for me is about trying to create additional housing supply in a country that needs more of it. This isn't about replacing supply, it's about producing more of it. And the other interesting bit for me is that the housing industry needs to be more consumer orientated. So there are choices here that people couldn't have in another way of operating. You could, in the future, be able to customise your property, being able to shift in advance the sort of arrangements you might want in it. You might
configure it yourself, you mean?
Yeah, you configure it yourself. You'd be able to design your kitchen in advance, knowing it was being built in a factory. And then when it comes to the site, it's craned onto the site, and then there are options for me about whether you rent it or buy it or part rent it or shared ownership. There's lots of other ways of accessing it, and they do look good on site. As I say, we have tried them. And for me,
where are the 750 that you've ordered? Where are they going?
They'll be going on sites throughout the country, and we focused on affordable housing for that particular order, but we'll be looking for sale for others. And the other interesting issue are there are other suppliers of this particular type of property. And the vision I've got is that on sites you might be able to see 4 or 5 suppliers on the one site, and you, the consumer, might be able to choose which one you have, which is a level of choice that's currently not available.
And when you have put these houses in place and you've shown your clients around, are they happy to live in a modular house, what we would perhaps used to call a prefab?
Well, we tried this in a site in Swindon with another supplier, and we directly marketed them as properties that were precision engineered in a factory. This is not the sort of traditional 19th post-war prefab that people have so much mythology about. This is 21st century technology being used in a housing market. So it's very, very impressive, and people liked it. And the other thing about it is, you do hear a lot of, I'm sure it's a small proportion of the housing stock where there are lots of snags where people have bought properties. The potential for snag here is much lower because it's been quality assured in a factory, it's been precision engineered, and it's delivered to the site. And as a person who were buying or renting a property, you can come and have a look at it.
So this is a 3-bed house. How much would you be putting this on the market for?
Well, it would depend entirely where it was, because the land value is one of the biggest determinants, to be honest. So it would completely depend on where it was. With another supplier, we did some in Swindon, and they were about £370,000, and they went very, very well. And we did some for rent in Hull with Ilke, and they were let within 36 hours. We didn't get into this with anything other than the consumer in mind, and we did road test it before we went down this road.
So you can see that this is part of the solution to the UK's housing crisis.
I think it's a significant potential to additional choice and to additional supply into a market that badly needs it.
David Cowans from Places for People, thank you. Thank you also to Dave Sheridan. I'm going to go upstairs now, Peter, and have a little rummage around in this house. You know, I am a little bit nosy, so let's go and see what it looks like upstairs.
Once a journalist, always a journalist. That was Samantha Fennick in Knaresborough. Thank you very much indeed. We've already heard from some people about this. Lynn Manning says she's often written to MPs with the suggestion that modular homes would create perfect homes quickly. But she says if she wins the lottery, it's the first thing she's going to buy. But the government will never build them, says Lynn, because the economy relies on the housing market. I wonder if that last item has changed your mind at all, Lynn. Now, are you having trouble sleeping? This is also really on the